where else would anyone like to move since we're not gonna do a page by page?
Well, see, I'm usually the bad guy on this story. I'll just keep going.
You've been a good guy so far.
I think I'd like to tackle first thing, the fire departments.
Okay,
I think that although they need the $100,000, with this district being closed down or voted down, the tax, or fire district, excuse me. I want to get it right, being voted down. I have concerns that now we're gonna give $100,000 to these fire departments and we have no control over the money. They can buy what they want. I think, I would like to continue to give them some money, but if we take a certain dollar amount and put it into a fund that they can draw from and come to the Board of Finance for, all right, then, but whatever they buy is owned by the community. I think we've got to start protecting ourselves, because if there's a fire department that goes under or sells out on us, we have no control of what they do with their money. I think we need to look at something like that.
Right, I agree 100%. We need that the assets that we buy should be in our name.
That's right. And quite frankly, I'm almost willing to say, if I'm gonna give them $83, what collateral are you putting up for the 83,000 or 85? You know, but you're gonna walk away after we've given you, $80,000. I'm just using a number, but we have to start taking control of what we give them.
yeah, and just to interject around the numbers, because the Board of Selectmen made some changes, what's currently in the budget in front of us, it was $1 million. Board of Selectmen moved 250 into capital, leaving 250 per, leaving 150 per station. So there's 150 per station times 5 stations, that's 750, that's in this budget, going to the station, 150,000. And there's 250,000 going into the capital. Just to anchor everybody on where we're at. Last year, we funded them 82. The year before, I believe it was 75.
So if we gave them something like 90, I'm just using a number now, I'm not saying this, we give them $90,000 and we put 400,000 into a capital account for the firemen, all right? What is, I don't have a calculator with me here, what does that do? Bill, come on, you're supposed to be on top of this. Well, I just, if we give them 90,000, so that's up 7 from last year, and we put 400,000.
So 450, 850 total.
400, yeah, well,
That would reduce it by 150,000.
yeah,
The way you described it.
yeah. I mean, that's a start. I mean, we can go anywhere you want, but, we're gonna have to pitch everywhere, but I think it's important that we have control over that $400,000.
I'd actually be okay with starting at 250 since we don't have anything, rather than starting at 4. And if each of the departments had 90,000, that's a 10% increase.
That's fine.
95s is 450 plus the 250 takes us to 700. We'd actually drop through
Then
1,000.
then we'll do 250. We've got to get down to a mill rate that's going to be acceptable, because if we're going to try to pass a bond note plus a mill rate, we've got to be realistic going into this first try. So I have no problem with 250. I realize they need the money, but we also need control.
So the proposal now is 90
Finding and 250 into an account.
and then 250 as capital, almost 50 in the bond.
I was gonna say.
Per department or total?
No, total. 250 is a total.
Okay.
So it would be, up 8,000 per department, that's plus
So
4.
that'd be 90,000 plus another 50 per.
Hang on.
Not per.
The 90s in last year, the increase would be 8,000 per department, times so it'd be 40,000 over last year, plus the 250.
Right.
So we'd be looking at plus 290 over prior year versus today, we're looking at like plus 340.
Okay.
They still would have access to money. They had an emergency or equipment, things that are needed, but they're just gonna have to come to us and ask to get money out of that account. And then whatever they buy belongs to the community. We gotta start protecting ourselves.
Quick question, just to clarify. I think tangible assets like fire equipment, fire engines, rescue equipment. When we have to cross the bridge of infrastructure improvements on physical buildings, then what? Who owns the building? Do we
Well,
lien a
again-
building? Like,
Again, do we ask to have some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? The agreement that we owe, you know, if we borrow, what are they gonna put up for collateral for it? We have to replace a roof, you know. I'm just saying, we give them as much as we can, and God bless they do a great job again, but, we gotta look realistic now. We're talking about a lot of money. So if it's 90 and 250 in account, I think that's a good starting point right now.
Right now it's 150. Is that a motion to move from 150 per department to 90 per department?
Well, we're gonna do 90 for the department and then to put the 250 in an account.
There is
It's
250.
already
in
there.
there.
So there's 90, there's 90 to each one.
That's correct. 250 is already
Yeah,
there.
okay, yeah.
Just reducing the allocation to each fire department from 150 now to 90.
Correct, right, right.
So $300,000.
Right,
That's correct.
correct.
I'll make that.
Well, wait, they were asking for 200,000 a
Yes, but he had taken 50.
Oh, he taken
out of the
50 out of it,
200
okay.
To make the
250,
250.
okay, all right, yeah.
It's left 150. So Steve just made a motion.
Yeah.
Steve, could you reiterate the motion, please?
To reduce the funding to the fire departments by a total of $300,000, which is 60 per department. We're reducing it to 90,000 per department. That's for their operating expenses.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Now we'll wait for discussion on the motion to move the per department funding from 150,000 to 90,000 per department. Any discussion?
I guess I would have discussion. I would say we reference a starting point. It seems like a very much ending point. If we have to come back and cut more, there's really nothing left. So I guess I would say that I would encourage you guys maybe to start at 100 instead of 90.
Well, we're not voting on the final budget yet, so if we wanna come back and address this, we could address it. But we've gotta get a starting point to get to a number. So,
I understand that.
you know,
I understand
The
that.
idea of presenting a budget to the public that's fat, got a bunch of crap in it, that's not necessary, it's the wrong
Right,
approach.
right.
Well, at $15,000 for turnout gear and $10,000 for an air pack, I think, you know, although to be bluntly honest, you know, a 10% increase operationally just for simply everyday things that they need isn't enough, you know?
Well, again, to be bluntly honest, we can't afford to give them the 250, but we're gonna try.
I understand.
I
understand.
It's a great start for them.
Any other discussion? Ken?
I was thinking at 100. Okay, because figuring the 250 was gonna roll over if we go to bond route. It gives them the money. I know what turnout gear is, et cetera. It's phenomenal money and there's a 10-year lifespan just on turnout gear. Never mind the rest of it. You know, if we gotta come back to it because the bond issue isn't gonna work and so forth. We revisit this and bring it down
Yeah,
if we have to.
yeah, and I don't
But,
know necessarily where I land on bonding for fire equipment, because that's.
No, but we had that in the,
I understand. I personally, I would leave that aside, the 250.
don't,
I wouldn't include it in the bond. For the reason of, you look at all of that capital, it's gonna dwarf the roads. You're gonna either do the roads or buy all the fire equipment. I just don't see the bond being enough to do both, so I'd start building that with the 250, maybe next year, 250. Build it to a point where we can buy a piece of apparatus. Sorry, Ken, I just.
no, I was just thinking of a way to kick it off and, roll it.
Any other discussion on the topic? Clarifications, discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. I'll go around individually since we're
Yes.
making money. Steve?
Yeah.
You vote yes. Ken?
No,
No. Nikki?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes,
And Rob Wursch, I'll vote yes, so that passes 4-1.
I'm gonna move on to the town hall building.